My name is Kathy Weppner, and I was on the radio for many years, and I encountered many active duty military as well as many veterans. I had the blessing to go down to Walter Reed a couple of times and visit with injured soldiers, Marines, airmen, seamen, and Coast Guardsmen. In the future, we'll just say soldiers, though, will encompass everybody. But and one of the things that I found was that there are many young men of great strength to get through the injuries they've encountered in combat. But I don't think I've ever met anyone like Timothy Payne. Timothy Payne, when I heard him speak for the first time, he said, "I'm glad I got injured because I never would have ended up in the place that I am right now if I hadn't." And that absolutely blew me away. I purchased this little book that he wrote, and it reads just like you're about to hear him speak, and it is a great inspiration. So I wanted to sit down with him and talk about his book and talk about his experiences, because I think in a day and age when so many young people are looking for themselves and wandering and getting involved in drugs and can't find their way, I think what Tim Payne has to say can be very inspiring. So it's good to be here.
Thank you.
And what I wanted to start out talking about is what you were like in middle school and high school, what kind of things you like doing, and so the audience can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Well, when I was a child, I was diagnosed with asthma, and growing up, to treat asthma, I was prescribed albuterol. And when I started taking this medication, well, first of all, I couldn't breathe at all. It was horrible. And I was taking the medication, and over a course of, well, a short period of time, within a year, I blew up like a balloon. I was extremely overweight, and everyone made fun of me. And I had asthma, and I couldn't really do anything. So I was like confined to, being in the house for the most part. And what I enjoyed doing was watching movies. So I love watching movies, and I would always just kind of get lost in stories and just kind of like focus on the good things and think about all the positive things that are like, like the good guys rather than the bad guys. And that's kind of like how my mindset was like molded, I guess you could say. And after so long, when I hit high school, I grew out of it though. So by 10th grade, I was grown out of the asthma, and I ran for puberty too, and grew like another 4 inches. And when I still had asthma, I was super depressed also, because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do the things that I saw other people do. And then I moved from one town to the other, and I lost my one friend. And I was extremely depressed, and I developed shingles. And I went to
Oh my goodness, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was like all over my back. And the doctor was like, you gotta calm down. You gotta let it go. You gotta just deal with things and just let it go. And I was like, okay, fine. And so I just kind of tried to make it up in my mind of like, just push out all the bad things and just kind of like let everything go. And right after that, things just started changing for me. And
did you start working out? You dropped the weight that you had gained?
It was like
in high school?
It was crazy. It was between my 9th grade year and my 10th grade year that the summer started, and I just started like, wow, I can breathe. I was like, I don't need to take this anymore.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. I was like, wow, I can totally breathe. And I lost the weight within like 4 months. Or no, 2 months. I shot up like 6 inches and dropped the weight, and then when people saw me, they're like, holy crap, what happened? And I was like, I don't know, I feel good. And I started running in the basement. My mom had, a treadmill down there.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I started running, and I was like, man, I can breathe. And then, yeah, it was
So
great.
what made you start thinking about the military?
Well, as a child, I always liked G.I. Joe, and then, just growing up, I had all these problems. And then, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I loved war movies. I was still watching all these movies, and I'm like, wow, it sounds like it's a pretty adventurous thing to do. And I like the whole selfless act of just, heroism and just the idea of, just going out there and doing what's right. So, I graduated 2001, and then the 9/11 happened, and so I was like
Oh,
getting
yeah.
ready to go to school to write stories and try to make movies. My brother went to college for industrial design for like special effects and makeup and art and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool, man, you can do this, I'm gonna go do that, and then later on we can put it all together. So then 9/11 happened, I'm like, well, forget this idea.
So 9/11 happens and you go join up.
Yeah, that was a pain in the butt. You know, I wasn't the best student in school. I always went out and never really paid attention to my classes. I just did enough just to get by. And so, you know, my parents were always yelling at me and like, you gotta go out there, this is your future. And I'm like, whatever. You know, I didn't really pay attention. 9/11 happens. I'm like, crap, it's not about me, it's about, you know, the military of my country and all this stuff. So I go take the ASVAB test. It's the Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery exam. I take the test and I'm like, I'm gonna go be a ranger. So I take the test and I got a 44 on it. And that was the national average though. The passing score is a 31.
Passing scores of 31?
Yeah, or 32. 31 or 32, I don't remember. But I got a 44 and the guy's like, you're not good enough to be a ranger. I'm like, crap, man. I was like, this sucks. So then I went down to the Huntington Learning Center and I signed up for tutoring and I was like, I should have paid attention in school. And I paid out of pocket.
So if you're watching this and you're still in school, pay attention in school. That's tip number 1, right?
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. So
Right.
did you retake it? What did you end up coming into the military with an ASVAB score of what?
54.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you passed it, and so now you're in. And I know you're going to have to get the book to find out how many attempts he made to get into Special Forces. And he did have a couple broken legs and another injury 2 or 3 days before graduation. The story is very, you have to read the book. And but I want to get to the place where you've come back from Special Forces because you were injured, and rejected by your squad because they didn't want a special ops failure. They're very brutal there. And you find yourself in a squad that's getting ready to deploy.
Yes, they were like getting ready to leave within a couple months. I get back from the training. So I'll go through the training, get selected for the next phase, but go on deployment for a year. I come back and they're like, you're not good. You didn't make it there, you're not gonna make it here, you're out. And I'm like, what? I was so like hurt, you know? Like you're talking about your spirit just got crumbled up in a ball and tossed in the trash can. So I'm like, crap, man, this sucks. And then like they're like, you just came off of Army recruiting also, so we don't even think you have what it takes to be a squad leader in the infantry. I'm like, dude, man, what are you trying to do to me? So they kick me out, and I go down to this other unit, and I'm working with Special Forces. So it turned out to work out in my benefit.
And you don't have any choices at all.
No choices.
You're gonna go where they want you to go, and you're gonna show up, and you're gonna do exactly what they want you to do. So you have to kind of be able to roll with whatever is sent your way. It's kind of like life, isn't it?
Yeah, you never know. It's like Forrest Gump, you know, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
So you deploy with this other squad, and you are the squad leader?
Yes.
Okay. And talk about what you heard about where you were going, and what kinds of things you got into when you were there.
Well, I read this report. It's called The Last Patrol, and it deals specifically with the 82nd Airborne Division. Now, I was assigned with the 82nd Airborne Division as my first unit in the Army. So, like, I have a lot of unit pride. So it's like, we're like the most hardcore guys to me. And that goes for any unit. They think they're the most hardcore, regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. Talk to the Marines.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm reading this report, and it's all about this area in Afghanistan called the Arghandab River Valley, and they coined the name the Devil's Playground. So I'm reading this report, and it's like we're expected to lose like 50% of the men, and I was like, holy cow! I just read this thing about the Devil's Playground, so I was like, hey man, God, if you're really out there, why don't you just kill me instead of my guys? We're probably gonna get killed anyways, but just kill me instead of my men. And
now, were you very religious at that time?
No.
Okay.
No, never really.
You kind of just said that flippantly, like.
Yeah.
Okay, God, if you're gonna, don't let my men go, just take me. Yeah.
There was times on deployment, there was guys reading the Bible, and I'd be like, that's not gonna help you.
I
was saying that stuff.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great for what's coming later. So.
Right.
Okay, so you're there. You've read this. You've looked up and said, take me, don't let anything happen to my guys.
Mhm.
And you all get there. And what did you find when you got there, and what kinds of situations did you get into?
The very first patrol that we went on, well, it wasn't me, but my platoon. The very first patrol they went on, we lost like one of the best soldiers. He got blown up and lost one of his legs. And I'm talking, this guy was like, probably like, to compare it to somebody now, it'd be like the smartest kid in the class, or like the one that's like, or like the all-star, like
Valedictorian.
yeah, but like the person that you would think would come out like totally untouched. He was the first casualty, and it's like, whoa, this is real.
Yeah.
And then the unit started taking more casualties after that. It got really intense, and
Talk about the ambushes you got in.
they were nuts. Okay, well, there's two different types of ambushes. There's a near ambush and a far ambush. The only difference between a near ambush and a far ambush is a near ambush is you're so close you can lob hand grenades at somebody. So like you're right on top of them. But other than that, a far ambush could be like, a mile away, depending on what type of weaponry that you're using. So we're walking down these like really narrow dirt paths and roads in Afghanistan, which is like also like this farmland. So I'm not in a populated city at all. It's like orchards, like grape orchards, and there's like these mud huts, and then there's like these little dirt paths. There's a lot of foliage too. So you're like walking down these dirt paths, you turn a corner, and then there's like 15, 20 guys right there, right on top of you, just machine guns and stuff. So we're walking on these paths, and the best way to conduct an ambush is to get all of these people in a one specific spot, and then you want to have a mass casualty weapon. So like if you'd use like a bomb to initiate an ambush, you wait till like half the guys are like right on top of this bomb. You detonate the bomb to start mass confusion. Everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? We're getting hit. And then you unload with like machine gun fire, and then you can pretty much pick off the whole team or the whole squad. They're designed to like, kill everybody. And so we walked right into one of these ambushes. And right when my Alpha team, my front guys, they were right there, right on top, and the Taliban blew up this bomb right on top of them, and I was in the center of the whole formation, and I just watched them all just drop, and everyone drops to the ground because it's like instantaneously, the adrenaline takes over.
You know what's coming next.
Yeah, and so it's like, bam, we just charged right through it, because if you stay right in that kill zone, we're not going to retreat, we're going right through it. So we fought right through this thing, and the enemy they took off, and we don't know if we killed any of them or not, because it's really important for the enemy to drag off their dead. It's really important for them. So we don't know if we killed any of them, and we secured the area. And as I was going through, making sure all my soldiers were good to go, because your adrenaline's pumping so hard, you don't even know if you're injured, because it's like, you can't feel nothing. It's just like pure, like the most hardcore blood flow that anybody would ever feel in their life. So I'm going through checking my guys. One of my team leaders that was in the front, he steps on a bomb, it doesn't blow up. So a bomb blew up right on top of them. Nobody got injured. And then we fought through this thing where they should have lost like half these guys. And then they're going through checking. Well, the Taliban, they set up another bomb like right next to where this ambush was as like a counter flanking maneuver. So like when we get in these fights, we lay down suppressive fire and we maneuver around the enemy and to take them out. And so they set up a bomb in a strategic position where we stepped on it, it didn't blow up. And it was a miracle.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Really unbelievable. Talk about the time when you came back and you're still in a whole squad, and the very next squad that goes out.
Yeah, it was. We got done with that specific ambush. 2 hours later, we got hit again, and it was just a straight up defensive fight. Like we were set up in a traffic control point, and then the Taliban just came out and just wanted to pick a fight with us. So we overcame the battle, threw hand grenades, threw grenade launchers, all this stuff, and then we rolled out. And the next platoon that took over, as soon as they went out there, I think it was either that night transitioning to the next day, they set up a position for the night, boom, they got blown up. They lost 2 guys. One guy became a triple amputee, the other guy got his head blown off. And
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
really
horrible.
terrible. As many times as you sit and you watch war movies, you know that every single person in the war movie went home.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's all acting, but when it's, it's real.
Yeah.
You know that every single life is just somebody you know, somebody that's loved, somebody that's family is going to be devastated. So talk about the day that you got injured. What happened?
Okay, well, after we lost these two guys, the command is like, there's no more patrols. We lost so many guys already to the build up to this
And
event.
these are other squads, not your squad.
Yeah, this is like the whole company.
Okay.
The company is already shorthanded. Usually a company has 4 or 5 platoons, and we only had 2 platoons on the whole company outpost. So we were extremely shorthanded, and we were doing these combat patrols. We'd find like 4 or 5 IEDs out there a day.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, it was crazy. So we lost these 2 guys, and then they're like, we're combat ineffective. We cannot go out there and patrol anymore. So if we lose any more, then we're not even gonna be able to man the defensive positions on the base.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they're like, we're not patrolling. And at this time, I'm like, okay, well, it looks like I'm the only squad to lose any guys. This is crazy. It's like, man, this is. I felt really, really blessed at this point. And the next day, it was July 2nd. They're like, hey, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do. And I'm sorry, no, it's July 1st. Yeah, July.
So they've already said you're combat ineffective. We're
Yeah,
not doing any
we're-
more patrols.
Yep.
And are you getting ready to like transition back home?
No, we were going from foot patrols to vehicle operations.
Got
And
it.
what we would do is, like, there's a road that we occupy for supplies. So what we're going to transition into doing, instead of going out into the area and denying the enemy, we would just sit up on the road and just sit there
And just watch.
and just do nothing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it
Would
was,
they eventually send you more guys? Do they
yeah,
do that?
there were more replacements, but I
Okay.
got injured before
Okay.
we actually fully transitioned, because I was on the last patrol.
Huh.
Like literally. So on the first, we got attacked on the base, and when we got attacked, I shot this dude and killed him. We were on the base, gunfire was coming in, and we just lost these 2 guys. So everyone's like super, it hits home when we lose our guys, and it's like everyone's just freaking out.
Yeah.
And some guys are either super motivated or some guys are scared. It's mixed feelings.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
especially if your squad is the only one that's complete, everybody has to be thinking it's our turn.
Yeah, so I got up on the wall and I'm yelling at my soldiers, like, scan for these bad guys, let's go. And I see the bad dude, and I shot him and killed him, and then it was crazy.
What went through your head?
Uh,
Is he the first person that you killed directly?
yeah,
Okay.
like face to
Okay.
face, like
Right.
I shot. We dropped bombs on guys before,
Right. Yeah.
and
But that's a little different.
that's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I machine gunned this guy down, and he was like 300 meters out, it's like 900 feet, and I just watched his body just like kind of jump up and come down, and so he was gone.
Nice shooting, by the way. Oh, my.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, he had it coming.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not to mention my soldier next to me, Barlow, he had a machine gun too, and so like when I called out where this guy was, he was firing directly at him too. So it was like a two machine
Somebody
gun.
was going to hit him.
Yeah, exactly. This
Okay.
guy was done, so after that, this thought just popped in my head. It was like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And I was like, okay, why am I thinking about
Yeah,
this?
where did that come from?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking about movies. I'm like, what movie is this from? And I couldn't
Right.
think about it. And later, that's where the whole Brgain comes in with the title of my story. And it was like the biggest type of like, you're late for work and you're like, oh shoot, I'm in trouble. But it was like a more of like a different, direct thought. It was like, you're gonna pay for what you've done. And I was like, don't kill me.
Even though these are really, really bad guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting that you even had that thought, because you know what they're doing over there to their people.
Right. So I'm like, is this freaking God? And it was like, yeah. I'm like, well, don't kill me. Why don't you just shoot instead of kill me? He's like, no, it doesn't matter. You freaking killed your last bad guy. You're gonna pay for what you've done. I'm like, well, why don't you just shoot me? Nope. Take one of my legs. Nope. I was like, please, man. I'll do whatever you want. You can take both my legs, and I'll read the word and spread the word.
So you actually like.
I straight up thought that. Like,
Wow.
if you would have saw me when this was going on, I was laying on my bed just playing Angry Birds, thinking all this stuff.
Yeah.
And So I'm like sitting there thinking, lost my thoughts. I couldn't sleep. It was like midnight. And after I said that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. The next day, they're like, hey, where you shot that guy, you gotta go out there tomorrow and you gotta blow up those trees where he was hiding behind. And I was like, okay, it's no problem. It was like literally right outside the base. So on July 3rd, I'm like telling my guys, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out there, we're gonna shoot all these missiles at all these trees. And then if that doesn't work, we're gonna take a whole bunch of demolition, we're gonna just blow them up. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was cool.
Okay.
So we're out there, we're shooting all these rockets, and didn't really do nothing to these trees or anything like that. And after that, my platoon sergeant's like, hey, we want you to go set up a position over here to cover us while we blow up all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So we go set up this position, and we're watching them this way, but the enemy can be coming in from this way. So I told my soldiers, I'm like, hey, make sure you bring a claymore mine out there. A claymore mine is an anti-personnel mine, and it shoots in a direction. And it's like 700 ball bearings, 1.5 pounds of high explosives. So when it goes out into like
So you could sit here and have it go there, and you wouldn't get injured.
Well, the ball bearings won't fly your way.
Right,
They're going to fly in a direction, but that explosion could come
Okay.
back, so you're going to be behind something. So we're setting up this bomb. We walk over this area, and we have the minesweeper. I walk back, and there's a sniper with us too, and I'm like, hey man, you good to go? And he's like, yeah, all right, well I'm going to go camouflage this wire, because the mine is command detonated, so you like have like a little triggering mechanism. So my soldiers are camouflaging this wire, or not the wire, the mine, and then I pick up a whole bunch of dirt, and the sniper's covering me, and I'm just walking through and just throwing dirt onto the wire. So we already walked over this area.
Right.
This is my 3rd time walking back. I'm throwing this down, and then all of a sudden, I like pause for a second, and I just feel like this presence come at me, and it's like, get ready. I'm like, what the heck? And I kind of look to my right and left, and then I look down, and boom, it just blew up right in my face.
Wow.
Yeah, I went flying up in the air like 10 feet up and then 10 feet back, and I went flying in the trees. And the first thought in my head was, looks like I'm living up to my purpose to be the only guy to die for my men. So it was like literally like, what the heck? I was like, I just got blown up. I was like, man, this sucks. And then right after that, my soldiers were on top of me, and they were just, they were freaking out. They were going nuts. And I was like, I didn't feel any pain. And I was looking at them, and I'm like, oh, man, I just got blown up. Like, how bad is it? How bad is it? And they're like, yo, your legs are gone below your knees. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I was like, all right, well, get me patched up. And then so they started getting me patched up.
And you wear a vest.
Yeah.
That compresses, that they can make, like, it's like a big tourniquet, right?
Well, I'm wearing a plate carrier.
Right.
And the plate carrier holds this ceramic plate that can stop like 2 or 3 rounds of like a AK-47 or something like that.
But isn't there something that can squeeze down and so you don't bleed out?
Yeah, tourniquets.
Like the tourniquets, okay.
Yeah, so at this point in time, my legs are gone below the knees, but it's not a clean cut. My legs were mangled. Like my right femur was popping out, and my left leg was like blown wide open from the inside of the knee all the way up to my groin. It was just ripped open.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so like the blood was just shooting all over the place. And one of my soldiers, Mike Merritt.
It's amazing that you're here.
It is. It really is. He stuck his whole hand inside my pelvis. He like literally shoved his hand because the blood was just shooting out.
Yeah.
And he like clamped the artery.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then on top of that.
That's why you're here.
Yep. And then my legs were so massive. At the time I was like 245 pounds, benching almost 400 pounds, and my legs were just like freaking like elephant legs pretty much. They couldn't get the tourniquets around my legs. It took 2 of them. It took Mike and then Ray. Ray's the other guy. They both saved my life. Big time. Like if it wasn't for them being like so fast, and it's like when your battle buddies are like jacked up, you can do everything you can to save
Did they think you were gonna make it?
No.
Yeah.
They like my arm. I mean, my arm was so, it was blown wide open.
Oh my gosh.
I could see the bone. I could see right through my arm. And when I saw Mike, about 2 years later, he was like, how do you still have your arm? I was wearing this watch.
Yeah.
And this is the only spot where I had the skin left. that watch saved part of my arm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you are, they get you there, and you're evacuated out of there, and you wake up a couple weeks later, and you're at Walter Reed.
Yeah.
So tell me about the kind of emotional part of waking up and realizing, what you're missing.
Right.
You're, a special operations at heart, a special,
Yeah, but I
special
never
ops,
was.
exactly, special forces guy at heart, and they tend to actually do better in recovery.
Yep.
According to my friend who goes there all the time. And walk me through that process of the loss. I mean, your family's just so happy you're still here.
Yeah.
You didn't get killed.
Right.
But there's got to be so many things that must be thinking, what do I do now?
Yeah, I felt like a complete, utter failure. Like, I tried out.
Really?
Yeah, I tried out for Army Rangers, got hurt. Tried out for Special Forces once, but then I became an Army recruiter instead. Like, I got orders like the same day when I went to go sign up. And then I tried out again, got injured, and then I got kicked out of my unit. And then
now I'm here and I don't have legs.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm here now. And it's like, I have nothing to live for. I'm like, why did I was like, I joined the military to go out there and just, fight for my country. And now what I have nothing. And so for a while, I was just extremely depressed.
Yeah.
And then the medications they had me on, it got me like numb. I was numb to, like, not only was I depressed in the back of my mind, but I was using these medications were like coping mechanisms for my body to kind of like make me feel better. But on top of that, I was also in a lot of pain. So it was like, it was a crazy struggle.
So what year was this?
2011.
2011. And how long did you stay on that track? I mean, one of the things that you know about pain meds is that your brain adjusts, so you have to either change it up or you have to just take more. How easy was it for you to like get more and continue on that path if you wanted to?
It was super easy.
Yeah.
It was, I'll go in and I'll be like, I'm in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
They'd like, describe your pain. I'll be like, it's shooting, it's sharp, it hurts, it's whatever they said it was. Because I don't know how to articulate exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm hurting all over the place. And they're like, well, all right, well, here you go. So then I would get like prescribed like maybe like 20 milligrams of like Oxycontins.
Yeah.
And then like a few months later, my brain is like
It's adjusted, yep.
Yep. And so I'm on like 3, and then 4,
Yeah.
and then they're giving me like sustained release. So I'm on like instant release, then I'm going on sustained release, and then on top of that, they're giving me like methadone, and then
And you're
all
probably
these
getting
different
something for depression, and then
Yep.
the side effects of that medication get you on different medications, and so you're probably like walking through rehab like a zombie.
I was, and then I was getting nerve pain. It felt like my legs were there. Well, they still feel like they're there.
Right.
But then I had to get this nerve pain, and it feels like somebody's like stabbing the bottom of my feet. And I'm like going to the doctors, I'm like, this stuff is not working.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, here, take this instead. So I'm taking all these medications, and they start giving me these nerve blocks, and on top of it, all these antidepressants. And I didn't realize it, but I started blowing up like a balloon. I must have gained like 20 pounds within a month.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like these nerve blocks must have like numbed my stomach from feeling full. Because I would like go to like the Cheesecake Factory and get like a huge meal, eat it, and be like, why am I still hungry? I need to get some cheesecake.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Huh. So what was there like a sentinel event that caused you to just say, I gotta stop all of this?
Yeah.
What happened?
I was sending some of my friends some progress pictures and video of just me like working on prosthetics. And one of my friends was like, yo, Tim, I thought you were supposed to be some sort of special forces soldier. Looks like you're getting pretty fat. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I was so.
Oh my gosh, nice friend.
Yeah, you
Just
know
been
what?
blown up.
I need that constructive criticism because like I was like, that's what I needed to hear. I looked at myself in the
It
mirror
was
and
an
I'm like,
ego thing.
yeah, it was all ego. I was like, oh, he's right. And so then at that point, I go talk to my doctors. I'm like, I gotta get off all this stuff. And so,
What did the doctor say when you said that?
like, you can't do that. You're addicted to these medications.
They told you were addicted to medications.
Yep. They sure did.
Really? Had you shown signs of addiction? Had you been talked to about addiction?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But
They didn't care because you were an addict.
yeah, I was. I
That is
was
the
so.
thing.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done. I cold turkeyed everything. I was done with it, except
Did you-
methadone.
Did you have any physical symptoms of withdrawal?
Yes.
Okay.
The methadone. I was able to stop the narcotics, but when I tried to stopping the methadone, it was horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
It was.
But doable.
I had to. Yeah, I was on like, I think it was like 20 milligrams like every 4 hours.
Why were you on? So the methadone was for pain relief?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure exactly what it's
Yeah.
for, but I mean, I was on Oxy IRs, Oxy SRs. I was on like 2 different types of nerve blocks, the methadone, and then the different anti-inflammatories, antidepressants, stool softeners,
Oh,
blood
yeah.
thinners.
You have to do
Yeah.
those because the pain meds will stop your intestines from working.
Yeah. So
So did they help you detox, or did you just go home and say that's it?
I did it myself.
You did it yourself.
Yeah. They wanted to help me, but they wanted to give me this stuff called Suboxone.
Yes, yeah.
Which I don't know if it's a
I've heard of it.
euphoric type of drug. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take it. I was like, at this point in my mind, I was like, I'm done. I was like, screw you. I was like, I'm done taking these meds. You're not gonna tell me what to do because I'm taking matters in my own hands at this
How
time.
about that?
Yeah.
So how long did it take until you kind of felt like your head was clear?
About 6 months.
Wow, that long.
Yeah.
How about that?
It was tough. It was a hard battle. It was. I made the mental note of just I'm gonna get off these medications.
You just go day by day?
Yeah, day by day. I was able to knock off the narcotics, and then with the methadone, I'm not sure if that's a type of narcotic, but I had to cut the pills in half, and then I was taking them, and then I would cut the halves in other halves.
Yeah.
And then, because like if I just stopped trying to take it, I would be like throwing up, getting the craziest cold chills.
Really?
Yeah, it was nuts. And but on top of this, I was like, what can I do to cope with all this stuff? Because I'm pretty fat. I was like 240 pounds without legs. You don't even understand. I was like, oh my God, I felt so like
Do you have a picture?
somewhere, but I probably burned them all.
Okay, so what were you doing when you were going through all of the withdrawal over that 6 months?
I was swimming.
You were swimming.
Yep.
How do you swim without legs?
I was like, when I first jumped in the pool, I'm gonna figure it out. My
Really?
butt was like a bobber. I can't drown. I can't drown. Yeah, your legs weigh you down, and that's how people drown. I would literally just like, my butt would be, I would just turn around my back, and I'm like, just hang out, but I would doggy paddle. I started off like doggy
Really?
paddling, yeah. But to even enter the pool, I felt like a walrus. I just rolled right into the pool, and I knew that the lifeguards.
I'm getting this visual image.
Yeah.
245 pounds without legs,
Oh, just
rolling into the pool.
rolling in, and then the lifeguards.
Detoxing.
Yeah, and then the lifeguards. There's like pretty lifeguards, and there's other guys that are like jacked, and they're lifeguards, and I'm like thinking to myself, man, these guys must be thinking like, this guy's life sucks. He must be going through the worst. And that's all I thought about, and I was like, you know
It's
what?
probably not what they were thinking.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna do this one stroke at a time, and I only could do like 5 laps, but I was consistent. I was like, you know what? It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Gotta live it day by day and not think about the whole grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So
So did you do that once a day? You went to the pool?
yeah.
And by the time you were done, how many laps were you doing?
It started off with just doing 5, and then 10, then 15, then 20, then 25, then 30, and then I couldn't keep count, so I bought a watch, and the watch kept count, but it was so boring. I was like, man, this sucks. I'm like, I can't. I'm getting lost in my thoughts, and I'm like, why am I even alive? Like this is horrible, and I'm in pain the whole time.
Yeah.
And as I was in pain, I was just working harder to just try to, get the blood pumping and just try to just cope with all these things. So I was like, I don't want to go back on these medications because I'm trying to lose weight and be productive. So if I start taking these medications again, I'm going to start gaining all this weight, and I'll start building tolerances again.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be that downward spiral. Okay, I got to work through this. So about probably 4 months later, my mind adapted to the pain.
Did it really?
Yep.
Your mind adapted to the pain.
That's the old saying, mind over matter.
Yeah,
It totally just, it totally, like,
That's incredible.
I might be in pain, but I don't even realize it.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like my pain tolerance or my pain threshold just shot right through the roof.
Isn't that incredible?
Yep, so looking back now, it's like if I start taking painkillers again,
Yeah.
my pain threshold will be decreased.
Yeah.
So it'll be more susceptible to pain. And that's what I found. Also, it was like when I was on all these meds, if I like bumped my arm, I'd be like, ow,
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, not even kidding, no.
Oh my gosh, I got a little black and blue mark here. Wait, I have no legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a big crybaby.
Jeez, that's fascinating.